Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's the Lucky Dime Caper starring Donald Duck for the Sega Game Gear. Lucky Dime Caper is another example of the great platformer Sega created using the Disney characters, also including great games for the Sega Genesis and Master Systems such as Castle of Illusion and Quackshot. Lucky Dime Caper was released on the Sega Master System as well as the Sega Game Gear. Both versions are almost identical, but there are a few differences between the titles. In the game, we play as Donald Duck, who must get the lucky dimes that were stolen by Magica Despell back, as well as save his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So here we go with Lucky Dime Caper for the Sega Game Gear. When you start up the game, you have a map selection screen where you can select which nephew you want to save first. We're going to start off by going to save Louie first, and going to stage number 1, which is located in a forest setting. As you can see, when the game starts off, you play as Donald, and you actually have a mallet for your main form of attack. Swinging it downwards when you jump up in the air, or just swinging it straight across when you're on the ground. There's some really fluent animation, and I have to say the graphics are quite nice for the Sega Game Gear. Overall though, the game is a pretty standard action platformer. Be sure to grab the star item that's located on one of the tree branches so you get another piece to your health meter. You can use your hammer to take out enemies, but you can also jump on them in order to take them out as well. When you pick up those star items, you get extra bars to your health, which are obviously very useful. Jump up this tree and you can end up grabbing an extra life. Once you have 3 pieces of health though, you won't be able to grab any more until you end up losing that health. Here we can use the leaf that's blown up in order to jump over the platform and continue on to the right here. When you land here on the water, just be careful that you don't end up getting hit by the beaver who ends up throwing sticks out of the dam. Over here we have the first boss of the game, this bear that obviously is pretty mad because he has a beehive on his head. He'll throw a beehive at you, and afterwards you can then have a big opening to jump on his head. Just be careful that you don't accidentally jump into the bee as well. For the first boss, it's rather simple, and you just have to keep hitting him as he runs back and forth, and you easily complete the stage, saving Louie. Next we'll be going to stage number 2, where we'll be saving the blue-hatted nephew, Dewey. At the beginning of the stage, jump on this turtle's back to ride across the water. I have to admit, the idle animation of Donald stomping his feet is quite humorous and adds some charm to the game. Jump on another turtle and use this one to ride across some more water as you make it to the other side. Be sure to pick up the star before dropping down into the water on the right, which will take you to another part of the level. Once underwater, continue to swim over to the right, being careful of spikes as well as the angry fish that are going. At the far right, you'll come to a wall, swim up, and you'll be back outside to the main area of the level. Once back out here, jump on another turtle and use this one to continue riding across the water. Be careful of the birds that are flying overhead, that when they get near you, they end up dropping a rock in your direction. When you make it to the far right, you'll come to a dead end. Instead of being able to continue, you'll have to drop down into the water below and for another underwater segment. It's a short segment, but just watch out for the spikes and fish and swim up on the upper right. You'll then be climbing up a waterfall, jumping up all these different platforms. Just be careful of the fish and you don't accidentally end up falling back down. When you make it to the top, it's time to battle the boss of this level, the lion. The lion will dash across the screen after you land on his head, so just be careful that you're not in his way. Overall though, when you make that bounce off his head, you'll be up in the air whenever he decides to dash, and just keep doing this over and over again for a really easy boss fight. Once he's taken care of though, you can walk to the right and you save the next of Donald's nephews. Next up, we head to stage number 3, where we save the third and final of Donald's nephews. As you can see, this level has kind of a Mexican theme to it overall, and ends up looking pretty cool. Watch out for the vultures that move overhead that throw either cactuses down at you or different types of rocks. Over on the far right there, you'll enter a temple type area. Inside here, watch out for the cow enemies that try to chase you down with their paddles. These vases, when they break apart, turn into rocks, but don't worry, they won't be able to hurt you. This segment has a lot of blocks moving in all kinds of different directions. Just be quick and try to duck under or jump over those you can. Be careful of the arrows that are coming out of the ceiling here and grab the extra life as you continue over to the right. Watch out once again for all the moving blocks as you make it from platform to platform. When you make it to the right there, you'll exit the area and be back outside. Here, just continue over to the right, watching out for the vultures as well as those weird cow enemies as you make it over to the boss battle. For the boss fight, this giant mask ends up appearing and starts moving around the screen. After he disappears, a giant rock will be brought down by the statue. Just jump on it as it rolls back and forth. Keep jumping up and attacking the statue until you end up breaking it while dodging the rock. Once the mask comes back out, just deliver one more hit to it and you'll take him out and save your final nephew. Now you'll have 3 extra levels to go to where you have to take out crow enemies that took the dimes. Start off by going to the left level and you'll be in stage number 4. As you can see, there's a volcano in the background and fireballs start spitting out of it, so be careful of them as you work over to the right. Once you make it up here, enter inside the building, you'll be on the inside part of the stage. Once inside, walk across this bridge area, and then when you have this cube appear, be sure to get across quickly before it ends up melting and disappearing again. If you end up missing your chance, it will reappear after a few seconds. Watch out for all the bats as you make it back over to the right, and once again, you'll have to open up the gate and go inside. Here, be careful of the statue that appears from the wall and end up spitting a large waterfall of lava out of his mouth. Also be careful of the ones on the walls that end up spitting fireballs and wave patterns as well as straight at you. In the next room, carefully make your way across the ice cubes as they melt before you. Just remember they will come back after a second or so you can continue jumping across and you shouldn't have too much trouble. The next area you'll have to work your way up the wall instead of working your way down, as you have the statues throwing up the lava at you as well as spitting at you. In this area, use the ice cube to jump up to the upper bridge so you can grab an extra life. And be careful of the jumping fireballs as you continue over. Here, watch out for the statue and take it out, and then go over to the far right. It's now time for the boss battle against the crow of this stage. Use your hammer to hit it, and then it'll throw 3 bombs out at you. Try to do your best to stay in between the bombs so they don't end up hitting you. As soon as he throws all 3 of the bombs, you can then jump up and continue attacking the crow. Once it's taken care of, you can walk to the right and collect the first of the 3 dimes that you'll be getting from these stages. Next up, we'll be heading to the far right and heading to the Egypt-themed level of stage number 5. Watch out for the scorpion at the very beginning and then start jumping along the sand. If you're not careful, the sand can pull you down, so that's why you gotta keep jumping across it. As you continue through the stage, eventually you'll come to a pyramid where you can enter inside. Be careful of the spears that end up coming out of the platforms and try to hit you. Just continue moving to the right and you should be able to dodge the spears as well as some of the blocks that end up falling from the ceiling. On the far right, enter inside the door for another area of the stage. Jump up to grab the star and then continue moving across either the sand or the platforms, whichever one you prefer. And of course, if you choose the sand, just keep jumping so you don't get sucked down. In this room, walk over to the right, skipping most of the doors and watching out for the mummies that appear from the sarcophaguses in the background. Enter inside this door and then immediately go into the door below in order to get to the next boss fight. For this Pharaoh Crow, watch out as he uses music notes to try to hit you as well as he summons snakes. All you have to do is keep jumping in the air a couple of times and hit him 3 times, which will be really easy to do, and you'll collect the next dime and move on to the next stage. As you can see from the map, stage number 6 takes place in Antarctica, so it's going to be an icy-filled level. The biggest problem with this is, as you can see, there is wind blowing in both directions that can cause you to get pulled or pushed in different directions depending upon what direction the snow is going. Just be careful and don't jump over the pits if you're getting pulled backwards, and eventually you'll make it to the far right. Taking out the snowman made of ice, you'll have to maneuver the camera a little bit so it's not too close to you when you're on the right side, and then continue on and drop down here. Watch out for the sawfish, they're going to be jumping out of the water trying to hit you, but you can take them out with your hammer if you want to. Continue moving along the icy platforms, watching out for the seals that may try to slide into you, but you can easily hit them by jumping on them or hitting with your hammer. When you make it to this platform, continue over to the right using your hammer while the Sawfist will try to chase you down. As long as you keep moving, you shouldn't have too many problems. When you make it over here, break down the ice wall using your hammer and then jump on top of the snowman. After taking out the second snowman, scroll the camera a little bit and then jump up to the platforms above. In the next room, watch out for the abominable snowman as you make your way up. Ignore the doors on the right and just keep heading upwards to the upper area. Then you'll be back outside with the wind trying to push and pull you again. You only have to go a few steps though before you make it to the next boss fight. Jump in the air in order to hit the crow, and then when he jumps down to the ground and starts sliding across, jump on his head. Then when he lands on the far left side this time, just repeat the process and keep doing so back and forth until you take him out. Now that we've gotten most of the dimes back, we have only one more dime to collect, and that's in Magica Despell stage. Start off in stage number 7 by working your way across the bridge and jump on the 2 skeletons with the top hats. As you can tell, this is kind of a Haunted Mansion themed stage, so watch out for the floating objects there and try to hit you during the level. In here, watch out for the few ghosts that are here and jump up to the upper right. In this room, be very careful as the portraits in the background will fall down. Thankfully though, you can either hit them with your hammer or jump on them to get rid of them. In the next room, you'll have to manipulate the platform so that you jump on them and they rise upwards. Just be careful and get off of them quickly enough so you don't end up running into the spikes above. Now, you'll have to repeat the process by now heading downwards, watching out for the spikes as you go again. In the room, once you walk past this mirror, some of the ghosts will end up spawning and try to chase you down. Just stand on a platform above them or jump on them in order to get rid of them easily. In the next segment, watch out for all the spears that the statues try to hit you with. When you make it up here, you'll be in another room with some platforms with some moving spheres going around those platforms. Just jump in and out of them and grab the star near the end because we're almost to the boss fight. In this room you have 2 sets of ghosts, the blue ones that are easy to jump on and then the ones that appear from the mirrors. When you make it to the far right though, it's time to battle Magica Despell. Use the lightning bolt to help you by getting hit and you'll end up landing on the platform above. Just keep jumping over and over on her crystal a few times and you'll break it and complete the game. Lucky Dime Caper may be an overall short platformer, but it ends up looking pretty good and is still fun to play. Though I have to admit it's probably one of the weaker of the Disney Sega games available. And with that, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.